Are we live? Okay, looks like we are live. We're back, everyone. Followers of Darkness, Shadow Scavengers, and Villain Aficionados. Welcome again to another Shadow Council episode at last. I'm your host, Laura Shadows. As always, I'm here, of course, with one of my few favorite Shadow Council members, Fulcrum, TK the Lucky Bastard, and of course, FRC. Oh man, it's been a long time, and finally we are back. As I try to keep my promise, and this time we're gonna get deep down into villainy, as always. After all, I do live with a villain's life, So here we are. We talked about Disney villains, and me and TK we talked about Dragon Ball villains as well. So I thought, like this time, we're going to explore another world of villainy. More like a world where all of us love a certain crescent moon with a boy on it. This time we're going to talk about Dreamworks villains. Oh boy. This is going to be a really exciting chat. I do believe that. What do you think, guys? Are you ready?
Yep.
Ready.
Good. All right. So, of course, when it comes to this type of conversations, basically, the first thing is, of course, what I'm seeking out of you is, of course, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, which, of course, is, as I like to call it, the first evil encounter. So, my question to you guys is, what was your very first Dreamworks villainy introduction? Go ahead.
I can speak about. I'm pleased you said Dreamworks villain and not just villain in real life, because you would be my answer as the first proper villain.
Thank you. Here we go.
I'm trying to think. Off the top of my head, I think it'd have to be. Would you count her as a villain? I'd say the old lady in Madagascar who just likes to hit people with handbags. I would say is probably
really the bad kitty lady.
Yeah, but I'm not whether sure she was just a villain or whether just she was just a horrible woman.
Definitely an antagonist, that's for sure.
Okay. Yeah. So you say the bad kitty lady.
Yeah, in Madagascar, not in real life, in Madagascar specifically.
I think in real life, we had a bunch of old ladies like that, so no surprise. But oh boy, okay. What about you two? You dynamic duo. What will be your choices for first evil encounter?
On top of my head, the first DreamWorks movie that comes to mind is Shrek. Therefore, the first film that comes to mind, played by the wonderfully talented John Lithgow, Lord Farquaad.
Nice. And what about you, TK?
Yes, I'm gonna. That's what I'm going with too, because that's the first one I can remember. Although I do agree with FRC, you're probably really the first villain because you eat children. So
bugger off.
Get me off. Get me off this stream.
Okay. I'm gonna have no comments about this one. No comments whatsoever.
Good.
But so,
what about you?
So okay. So with the whole Stephen King's It thing away, what would be? So what was your answer, TK?
Lord Farquaad.
Actually, for me, I'm gonna go way back. I'm going back to Ants.
Oh, okay.
General Mandible, voiced by Gene Hackman. That was actually my very first DreamWorks introduction when it comes to villains. General Mandible, and I think he was the very first DreamWorks villain that I always kind of found the most memorable of them all.
Rest in peace, of course, Gene Hackman. Rest in peace, sir.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a legend. It's so sad that just simply he went off like that. It's so sad.
Yeah.
But definitely the General Mandible for me personally was always like one of the most memorable roles that he ever had, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, though, which kind of like okay, so which kind of brings me to the other question I have, which kind of also kind of goes to the kind of first evil encounter ish kind of thing, is that which of the villains for you was the most memorable?
I mean, if you're speaking about all of DreamWorks, you have to obviously look at the Shrek one, so memorable. I think Madagascar, they kind of struggled, didn't they, a little bit, apart from the third one with the police lady who sang opera to get her fellow police officers out of the hospital bed, which is the strangest scene in DreamWorks history. I think the Kung Fu Panda ones, I think Tai Lung, just because of his presence and that scene on the stairs with Shifu just waiting, we're all big fans of Star Wars here. It kind of gave that Star Wars feel, like Sith and the Jedi just waited to, you knew it's going to be big, and what an incredible end to that movie. I'd say probably the Kung Fu Panda villains are probably the most memorable if you're talking about franchises, and I think Tai Lung's definitely at the top of that.
Okay, I was actually gonna be more. I was gonna trying to be more specific, like which villain, not like villains in which like other like
I apologize. Please don't. I apologize. Please don't kick me out of the council. I'd say Tai Lung.
That's it. You're fired.
That's it. I've been fired before. I keep coming back. I don't know how I keep coming back.
All right. Settle down, shall we? Okay. So, what about you two? Which villain would you find the most memorable?
I can't really think much on top of my head other than what FRC said about the Shrek franchise. So I'll go to Shrek 2. I believe played by Julie Andrews, if I'm not mistaken.
Which one are you going?
Fairy Godmother.
No, Julie Andrews played the mother of Fiona.
Okay, my mistake. Who played the Fairy Godmother then?
The Fairy Godmother, I think she was played by I forget her name.
Jennifer Saunders.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I always kind of, for me personally, she was always kind of like more like a fairy mob boss actually than a fairy godmother. But like the way how she handled all the business and everything. But like, okay, yeah, but like that woman, like she nailed the role of the fairy godmother. She was absolutely amazing, and I was even like surprised to actually hearing her voice singing "I Need a Hero." Like that was like out of nowhere.
Oh no, definitely. I think King Arthur too, kind of like as like kind of henchman of sorts, kind of like helps bring her character together. I feel.
Charming.
You mean Prince Charming?
Charming. You said Arthur.
Oh yeah, Prince Charming.
No, Arthur is the nephew of the king.
Yes, I'm aware. My apologies. I should.
All right, okay. Let him be.
Arthurian War.
Okay. Fair enough. What about you, TK?
I really like Prince Charming. I thought he was a good villain. He was the most memorable, I think, for me. Especially because he kind of spanned 2 movies.
Okay, fair enough. For me, out of all the villains that I think was most memorable. That was always like a battle between those 2 villains because both of them I always found the most memorable. But if I have to choose one of them, I'm gonna go with Lord Shen from Kung Fu Panda 2.
The Peacock?
Yep.
Gary Oldman, right?
Yep. Thank you, FRC. Thank you.
No, I will say this now. He honestly, that performance, that villain story is just. I don't want to take too much time and credit off of out of Lord of Shadows because it is his answer, but he is by far one of the best villains in DreamWorks. Just his voice, his backstory. You think to yourself, I'm like, should this really be in a kids' film? I know animations for general, but obviously the target audience is kids. And I can remember watching that when I was young, and I just thought, I'm not quite sure whether this villain should be in this because it was so dark. And Gary Oldman's a phenomenal actor, as we know.
I mean, Lord Shen was not the very first Gary Oldman voiceover that he did. I mean, like, if you have you ever guys seen Quest for Camelot?
No.
You two? Okay, I'll take that as a no.
We're back.
There we go.
Have you two ever seen Quest for Camelot?
Quest for-
Doesn't sound DreamWorks.
No, I haven't. I don't think
No.
that's-
It's a Warner Bros. Like anime movie.
Okay, no. What year was that?
That was like, I think it was like the late 90s, I think it was like in the late 90s. But Gary Oldman, like, you know, he played a villain called Saruba in that movie, and he was great in that role. He was great, you know. So, like, you know, so we kind of basically proves that Gary Oldman can do anything when it comes to, like, you know, voiceover or comedy or serious roles. Like, he can do anything.
Okay.
Literally.
1998.
Thank you. I knew it was like late 90s somehow. I knew there was something like that. Yeah, I mean, anyway, if you ever, like, you know, wish to watch some anime movies, I definitely advise you to watch Quest for Camelot. I think you're gonna like it. Yeah, but anyway, speaking of Lord Shan and UFRC saying that he's like one of your favorite, like one of the best DreamWorks villains ever made. So, which brings me to this top 5 in scum and villainy. So we must be cautious. Like, yeah. So now here's a challenge for all 3 of you. What are your top 5 DreamWorks villains? Take your time. All you need.
I've got 3 off the top of my head. No, 4. I've got 4.
Lord of Shadows, I think you should go first, just so you can give us some time.
Well, I mean, you know, since I'm the host, I usually let first, like, you know, my guests do kind of like go first. But and of course, if you guys need more time, I mean, I can go first.
I've got 5. I've got 5.
Okay, FRC, go ahead.
Can this not be in order? Can this just be 5, or do they have to be in order?
No. It doesn't have to be like in order. It doesn't have to be.
Okay, I'll kind of do order of release date in terms of when they came out. Tai Lung, like I mentioned before, just a fantastic villain. Great, you know, great voice, great story. Kind of, you know, really well had that backstory. As I said, kind of had that, you know, but he turns up on that steps. You know, 1 minute he's not there, the next minute he's there. The fight on the bridge, I think, is phenomenal. With the Furious 5, as I mentioned, Lord Shen, Gary Oldman. I've already sang its praises, so I won't repeat myself. But moving away from Kung Fu Panda, Drago Bloodfist, I think, is a fantastic villain. For How to Train Your Dragon 2, that kind of presence as an animated character, the way he kind of swings his staff. Would you call it a staff? Let's go with that.
Yeah, sort of.
To kind of get the dragons, these big dragons, to kind of. I'd love to see, because I know How to Train Your Dragon 2 live action's coming out. That's already been announced. So let's see whether we get that as a villain. It'd be very interesting to see who plays that character. I was probably one of the first proper How to Train Your Dragon villains, because I think Stoic, you know, it wasn't. He was a villain, but it was more villainous thinking. And obviously he changed his mind. So that's 3. 4, I would say. Is it Death or is it Dark? Whatever, from Rise of the Guardians, voiced by Jude Law.
Pitch Black or Boogeyman?
Pitch Black. again, I think Rise of the Guardians is so criminally underrated. I think it's a fantastic film, and
I agree.
again, the presence I think is phenomenal every time on the screen, and Jude Law's a great actor, so the voice work in that film is amazing. And then fifth, I'm going to go with Death from Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, a fantastic movie. I've just a couple of years ago now. That movie's so bold and so colourful. I think DreamWorks have done fantastic over the last few years with their animations. Bad Guys, Puss in Boots, The Wild Robot. But I think Puss in Boots stands out because of the colour palette. And then for that to immediately change when he's on screen, that scene in the bar as well. I think it works really well with Puss in Boots' character. It took a while to get a Puss in Boots sequel, and they nailed the villains. So they are my top 5.
Beautiful. So, how about you two? Did we give you some time?
If you want to go ahead,
Okay.
I have one more.
So my villains are going to be mostly from one series because that's all I could think of. So I'm going to go Rumpelstiltskin, Charming, Farquaad for sure. Let me think. Farquaad, Charming, Rumpelstiltskin. I'm trying to think. I know more DreamWorks movies. Actually, no. Would the Pharaoh count? Was that DreamWorks?
You mean Prince of Egypt?
Yeah.
Yes, it will count.
Okay. I'll go the Pharaoh.
Okay.
And then only because it's in my head. Who was the villain in El Dorado?
Oh, I mean Jekyll Khan.
Yeah, I'll go with him.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm going to add a 6th villain, Mephisto.
Oh, bugger. You know, I pray that he's in Ironheart. I really pray so we can be at peace.
No, we won't be at peace. It won't be at peace. He'll bring you up more.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it'll be utter chaos.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh boy. But anyway, like Fulcrum, what about you?
I actually just got done with my list. So from number 5, the robot from the corporation from The Good Robot. I thought it was kind of scary, honestly. By the way, if anybody hasn't, I know it's fairly recent, but please go watch The Good Robot. Incredibly well made. Incredibly well made.
Yep, the wild robot.
Crap, I keep doing that. My apologies.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Look, everyone got what you meant. Everyone got what he meant. Trust me.
The wild
Don't worry.
robot. The wild robot. I don't know what. Okay. Number 4. All 3 villains from Over the Hedge.
Hello, Caroline. okay, FRC, we got it.
The wild
So-
robot. The wild robot. Okay.
Okay. Wait a minute. You said Over the Hedge. You mean the crazy lady, the hunter? You mean like all of them together? Even
Yeah.
the bear?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I just feel like they're an equal protagonist, really. I mean, antagonist.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Go ahead.
Number 3, Lord Farquaad.
Yep.
You can't go wrong with John Lithgow.
Wait, Caroline, what?
Suck the Lord of Shadows.
Oh.
Oh. Okay, because the when you the where you supposed to be the B kind of looked like a G. So
That
like it would say Caroline Sug.
she's
Look,
responded.
yeah. No, I already have. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate that. Anyway, let's not be rude and let Fulcrum continue.
All right. Number 2, Fairy Godmother. Like you said, mob boss. Can't go wrong with a good mob boss. And number 1, and gosh, this movie is like just freaking peak. It is.
I don't know why I'm laughing.
It is.
I don't know why I'm laughing. Just the way you said it.
The wolf from Puss and Boots' Last Wish.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Fucking nice, mate.
Chills.
Nice.
I got freaking chills.
Oh my, I mean, you can never ever forget the whistle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember like when I watched that movie in the theater, and I mean, unfortunately, it was in Croatian dub, unfortunately, but the whistle, it was like still the same as in English. But every time when he whistled, I had chills. Every time. I was like, ooh, I was like, whoa. I was like, whoa, like this wolf is creepy. But and then when you add like, you know, that he's actually deaf, like it's even better. Even way more scarier. So now with you all have your own lists, your own 5. Here's my villainous 5, basically.
Oh no.
Yeah. Anyway, so I mean, we can all agree on that one. So the big bad wolf, aka Death, like he was absolutely amazing. Like, you know, every single time he was on the scene, he stole it. Oh my god! Like, you know, and that final battle with Puss in Boots was absolutely amazing. So I'm going with Death. I'm going with Drago Bloodfist from How to Train a Dragon 2. He also made a really big impression on me. And you know, and I like the overall depiction of, like, you know, him being kind of like the darker side of Valka, Hiccup's mother. I really like that. 3, I'm going with Lord Shen, the Peacock. I mean, like I mean, all the Kung Fu Panda villains, like they were good, but Lord Shen, like he was the best. He was the best of all the villains. Like, I would say of all the villains, he was the one who hurt Poe the most, who really got under his skin, like really deep, like unlike the others. So Lord Shen is my 3. My number 4. Now, he doesn't get appreciated that much, but out of all his like villainy work, I feel like he's the best out of all of them. Rumpelstiltskin from Shrek Forever After. Like, I mean, like out of all the villains, I feel like he's the one who really, let's just say again, hurt him the most, playing with his feelings. And number 5, I'm going with another familiar villain that, of course, me and FRC mentioned, Pitch Black. Like, he also made a really big impression on me. I would say like the closest, like let's just say honorable mention, I would put General Maldiva from Ants, like as an honorable mention. You know, but those are like my top 5. You know, like they're just simple. Every single one of them unique in their own way, really well written, really well made villains. I know that like some people kind of like criticize Drago Brothers because there's nothing like about him that you can kind of understand. You know, because like usually, you know, everyone needs a fucking evil Bible, like, you know, to kind of understand every single villain, you know, basically why they're evil. But sometimes even small things, like even a small speech, can make you understand why they're doing what they're doing. You know, like for example, like you know, like for example, that speech where that he gave to Hiccup in How to Train a Dragon 2. I mean, FRC, you know which scene I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I cannot wait to see who's going to play him in live action. If they choose the same voice actor, I wouldn't mind.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, but let's just say personally, I wouldn't mind, honestly. Now, Here's oh, by the way, out of fun, basically. Would you like to throw, like myself, some honorable mentions? Just out of fun.
Just trying to think. I mean, what I will say is Drago Bloodfist villain for live action. I'll throw a name out there: Jason Momoa.
For Drago Bloodfist, it needs to be someone who can play a serious role. Jason
He could be
Momoa.
serious. Yeah, Game of
Okay.
Thrones he could.
Okay. I mean, he could, but like, I don't know. I was kind of depicted like someone else to play him. I mean, one of my friends. I mean, this is silly, but like one of my friends even said like, oh, I can see The Rock playing Drago Bloodfist, but I don't know if I can see him in that role. Oh my god! But anyway, yeah. I mean, speaking of How to Train a Dragon, or like one of my other honorable mentions I can put in is he's also underappreciated, but Grimald the Grizzly. He also was a good villain.
I was going to say him as my honourable mention.
So, what about you two? Do you have any honorable mentions out of fun?
I'm trying to think. You got anything? Don't say it.
I'm gonna say it.
Don't say
I'm gonna
it.
say it.
Don't
I
say
gotta
it.
say it.
You can't say it.
Mephisto!
Oh my god! I knew it was coming. I knew that bugger was coming. I knew that. I knew that red bastard was coming. Anyway, back to DreamWorks reality. What was your honorable mention, Peyton, again?
Honestly, I don't know if I have one. I'm kind of having a brain fart as far as that goes. If I think of it, I'll let you know. But there's just so much, and DreamWorks has been around for so long. So
Was that movie with the green alien where he was voiced by Justin Long? Was that a DreamWorks movie?
that
What
was Area
Planet-
51. I don't think.
That's not DreamWorks.
Not DreamWorks. Okay.
No, so-
No, it wasn't DreamWorks.
Okay.
It's Justin Long.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember seeing that in theaters. I think I was like 9, 10 years old.
That has the
Okay.
rock in.
Yeah. So, TK, it's all up to you now.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head for an honorable mention, honestly.
Yeah, fair enough. Like I said, I just wanted to ask out of fun.
I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
Might have to do something.
Okay, fair enough. No problem. Now, FRC mentioned that before, but now I think that this will be an interesting conversation that we're going to have, and which I would like to call, which franchise is stronger in villainy? Which basically in translation means which DreamWorks like movie series has the strongest villains, which means like not just simply, I'm not talking like, voice acting. I'm talking like, their character, their their actions, the confrontations with the heroes and everything. Like, which franchise in the DreamWorks universe do you think has the strongest villains? Go ahead.
I think they dropped off the franchise villain wise. I think they started super strong with the first two, dropped off a little bit with the third and the fourth one I've got problems with, but consistently they've always had great actors or actresses in that voice role, adding so much personality and so much grit. I have to say Kung Fu Panda. Shrek's up there, I think, because consistency. I think they seem to fit the themes and the kind of comedy aspect. All of them have that fun side, that lightheartedness side that kind of fits. There's none of them that feel out of place. but I'd probably say Kung Fu Panda just because them first two are just so strong. I think the third and the fourth are weaker. I think they're weaker films in general, but I would say that I would probably with backstory as well. The first three all seem to have a tie and a connection to kind of Tai Lung was Shifu. Shen was kind of Po in that sense, and then Kai was Oogway. The fourth one felt out of place a little bit, but I'd probably say Kung Fu Panda consistently across the board. Some great actors and some great voice performances.
Okay, fair enough. What about you two, big boys?
I would say it would really depend on what would you say makes a good villain, and what would you say kind of what you're looking for in entertainment as far as an antagonist goes. On top of my head, I would say that Shrek has probably the most well-rounded villains. The Shrek franchise in particular, especially with the wolf from Puss in Boots. But kind of in general, if you're looking for just like an entertaining antagonist, nothing like extremely like heavy or anything like that, but I would say probably Shrek. I'd say maybe a second of franchise. Two that can probably be a good contender would either be the Kung Fu Panda franchise, like FRC said, or the How to Train Your Dragon franchise.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough of an argument. What about you, TK?
Honestly, I'm kind of split between the three that Peyton and FRC mentioned. I think a lot like Peyton, I'm going to have to go with the Shrek, though, because I like those villains the best. I think they're at least the most interesting to me. And, I mean, just like as a side note with them, I think they're they're very well casted, very well cast. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Shrek.
Okay, fair enough. Now, of all the like franchises that have been like going on ever since like the very first movies released, I mean, like I'm talking like from Shrek to How to Train Your Dragon to like Madagascar to like Kung Fu Panda and like a few others, and some of them who tried, but unfortunately they never went on. But DreamWorks had a lot of big amount of like pretty like I want to say pretty strong. I would say like pretty good like written villains. But I would say like all of them, and me being me, I would judge them like from the way how they're written, their motivation, their actions, confrontations with the main heroes, and how much of an impact have made not simply in the story, but like even like for the viewers. I would say out of all of them. Now, this one part of this, I'm gonna play a little bit dirty, but I'm gonna go with like How to Train a Dragon, and I'm not just simply talking about the movies. I'm talking like even like the TV shows they did, because like usually when you have like TV shows, like for example like with the Adventures of Puss in Boots they did for Netflix, there are some memorable villains, but like usually they're very cartoonish, very like traditionally written. But How to Train a Dragon like had a really big list of like villains that really made a big impact, like and TV wise. Like, and I'm not just even talking about like Drago Bloodlist or Grimmel the Grizzly. Like, I'm talking like other villains like Vigo Grimborn or his brother or Trader Johan. Like, I mean, basically all the villains that they appeared in How to Train a Dragon franchise. Krogan even. But so I would say like of all the franchises, I think like in DreamWorks, I would say How to Train a Dragon I think is the strongest one when it comes to like villains. I mean, don't get me wrong, Shrek. Their villains like they're still pretty good villains, but very done like in a very and again, this is not a criticism. This is not like something negative. I'm just simply saying that they're written in a very traditional, cartoonish, goofy way, But I'm not saying this is bad. Sometimes you can have villains like that, absolutely. But when it comes to the impact, I'm going with How to Train Your Dragon. I mean, I know how you guys think, but that's my choice.
Well, honestly, I mean, I can go either way of like what type of villain I want to see, really.
Exactly.
Me personally, I love anything that's over the top. Like, you know me, I love,
Yeah.
like, I love, my traditional, like, three-dimensional characters, protagonists, antagonists, etc. But it's just kind of fun to have kind of that old-fashioned, just fun with it, especially like having like one of those like mustache twirling villains that's like, oh hey, look, I'm evil. Like sometimes that's just kind of like the more fun. I mean, you and I were talking about that before, and we were talking about stuff with like say like Guardians of the Galaxy with Shakudi Awuji's High Evolutionary. So, as far as, that goes, I'd say Shrek just has the more entertaining, but, I do agree with you as far as the How to Train Your Dragon franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree on you because, like, even I'm a sucker when it comes to like villains who are like over the top. I'm a sucker for that. Because just like you and everyone else, I grew up with Saturday morning cartoons. So we all got used to like those over the top type of villains, and sometimes seeing those kind of villains in like movies and TV shows, it's very refreshing. Not just simply having every single one of them being very overdeveloped and everything. Like for example, the first two that comes to mind to me were like, for example, Professor Marmalade in the Bad Guys or Professor Poopy Pants in the Captain Underpants movie. Like those were like straight up like over the top like goofy villains. I mean, to kind of give you a more biggest example, when Professor Poopy Pants basically he took a frigging cage out of a briefcase and he said, "All right, get in here." And I go, "Why? Because I'm evil. I'm nasty, and I have a cage in a briefcase." Like you can't get goofy than that. More than that, And I know that most of these. Sorry? Oh, I thought you say something.
We're just listening to your lovely voice.
If sometimes I talk too much, you can easily stop me. No problem. No offense.
It's your
Continue.
stream. Talk.
What?
No, I'm saying it's your stream. Talk.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. But I also want to give you guys like some talking as well. But I'm just trying to attach to like what do you, Peyton, say? That sometimes having over the top villains also doesn't hurt. But it's just that that how many types of like stories we got like out there. People like kind of became too spoiled, like kind of basically asking more deeper stories. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think we do need a healthy balance. By the way, I did want to bring up, I know we were talking about the movies and stuff like that. As far as DreamWorks goes, what do you think about some of the villains from the Tales of Arcadia franchise? I know you're a big fan of that.
Okay, now in every single, I mean, like troll. Okay, troll. I will start like this. Troll Hunters. Every single villain for me rocked. Every single one of them, from Bular to Gunmar to Morgana to like Angorot. Like all the villains for me were great. General Miranda in Three Below, the Alien. He was okay as a villain. The colonel, the military woman, like she was a bit annoying, but like she was also fine. Wizard and Rise of the Titans minus the ending. The Arcane Order and the Green Knight, basically. I like them as villains, but I think like out of all the villains in Tales of Arcadia, I think like Troll Hunters has the strongest ones.
Okay.
I think. But all the others for me were fine when it comes to like serving the story and keep it going and everything. Like they were entertaining, they were interesting. But if I have to choose, I would say General Miranda from Free Below is the weakest.
Okay. I haven't watched the full Tales of Arcadia franchise, and it's been a while since I've watched Dreamworks. I definitely need to take another crack at it. But I agree with pretty much everything you said as far as that goes.
Trust me, you should try to watch the Tales of Arcadia trilogy, from Trollhunters, Free Below, and Wizards, including the movie, because at first I wasn't interested in it at all. Like most of the DreamWorks TV shows, I wasn't interested in it. But a few of my friends, who are also animation suckers, they were like, come on, give it a try. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll watch it. First 2 episodes, I couldn't get enough of it. I was like, okay, give me more. And I was sucked into it. And every time when they announced the new season or the new every single news for the show, I just couldn't wait. Absolutely. By the way, for C, I also suggest you to watch Tales of Arcadia trilogy. I think you're gonna like it as well.
Yep, will do.
By the way, speaking of DreamWorks, has anybody watched Voltron Legendary Defender?
No.
What do you think of the villains from there?
Pretty good. Yeah, I mean, some of them more, some of them less, but overall, pretty satisfied when it comes to villain in mind.
Mm-hmm. Definitely got what I needed as far as villainy there.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean, and I think speaking of that, I think DreamWorks should do more original TV shows when it comes to DreamWorks. I think that they should do more original shows.
I think so too.
Yeah, I mean, usually they expand. Let's just take for example, Madagascar. Let's take for example that, we have a King Julian show. We had the Penguins of Madagascar, TV show, including a movie as well. Also Monster versus Aliens. They tried to do a TV show. They did, I think, 20 or 30 episodes, I think, altogether. It didn't quite work out, although that show is a guilty pleasure of mine. But I think that usually DreamWorks, that's a very traditional thing for them to do. But I think they should expand more on original TV shows. I mean, that's just an idea I had.
No, I get it. They do. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
I was just going to say they need a streaming service, I think, for that. Like somebody who's not watched any DreamWorks TV or not really looked into it, I do think they need to find a streaming service to kind of really push that, a Paramount Plus or Netflix or something like that, somewhere where I think they can really push their their stuff. Because like you said, I think they've got some very interesting potential ideas. Obviously Pixar have got Disney Plus to utilize. I think DreamWorks need that kind of similar thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, but the so far of all the things that have already existed, I do have to applaud is again the How to Train a Dragon TV show, like Defenders and Riders of Berk and Race to the Edge, because they tried to, because sure, it's animation. The animation level is a little bit is lower than the movie, of course, naturally, but the consistency, the story, the elements, they're almost identical as in the movies, and I really like that. They didn't try to tone it down or anything. So if you guys haven't watched Race to the Edge or those two Defenders and Riders of Berk TV shows, I really suggest to watch it.
Okay, I think I watched a little bit of Riders of Berk when I was on Cartoon Network. I think in the early 2010s.
Yeah, I mean the two, the Riders of Berk and Defenders of Berk, they were on Cartoon Network when it all started, and then later on they passed on Netflix.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, with that being said, here's a very interesting topic. I think like it will be. I'm kind of curious to see what you're gonna say, as I like to call it, the weakest link, which basically means who are, in your opinion, the weakest. Okay, let's make it interesting. Weakest villain or villains in DreamWorks, which means you can count. You can name more than one if you want.
Anything from Trolls, I would say.
Oh gosh.
Okay, fair enough.
This franchise. I think that was for good reason.
It's just that they're villains for a bit and then they're like friends straight away. It's just like, okay.
Well, in the exception of the first one, that troll-like cook, like she was a villain from the beginning to start, from beginning to very end.
Yeah, I kind of blocked them films out. The second one, it was like the idea that all the other trolls are bad with all different type of music, and then they play a song at the end. I haven't even watched the third one, and I don't even want to watch it.
How many are there?
3.
Yeah.
That's 3 too many.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know animation is a very tedious art form. And, to anybody who worked on those films, props to you, really. I appreciate your effort and your craftsmanship on it. But first one was just way too much for me. So, I appreciate a jukebox musical, but it wasn't for me.
It was way too poppy for Peyton.
Yes.
See what I did there? See what I did there? Thank you. I'll take that.
I get it.
All right then, Silent TK.
Yeah,
How about you?
I'm going with the Trolls franchise.
Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna go on a round that might be surprising, but for me, out of all the villains, the weakest for me. One movie, I think, like you and I, Peyton, are gonna have a fight. Okay, so the first one, the weakest villain out of all of them, and I will say it, the villains in Trolls were, for me, entertaining. They were a bit amusing as villains, amusing. The second one, mostly because I'm a rock guy, so whatever. But if I have to choose like my weakest villains, first one definitely, and again I respect the voice, the actor, but like that fucking fat lawyer from B Movie. He was absurd, ridiculous, forgettable, and not to mention the husband of that woman. And the reason I'm saying this is because B Movie is my lowest of the lowest, like DreamWorks movies for me.
You can't go wrong with Patrick Warburton, though. I'm sorry, you can't.
Okay, fair argument. I'll give you a fair argument.
That movie needs to be studied on what that writer was thinking. How a woman could fall in love with a bee. It's just absurd.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Like, they should have just simply stick to the ants formula, where basically they just simply in this bee world, and where basically you can have a villain that is like a bumblebee or a wasp or something, and basically like their own kingdom, how they make honey and everything. Like, I think that they should have stick with that. But okay, whatever. Because even for me, it was like a bit, what?
Oh, gee.
But but the second, but the second choice that I found the weakest. Again, I love that movie. All the characters were fine, but the villains part were like meh for me. I'm sorry, Peyton, but the trio in Over the Edge.
Hedge.
The crazy lady, the hunter, and the bear. I'm sorry.
Hedge.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna get mad or anything like that. I'm not that passionate about it. But okay, Hedge. Hedge. Did I say edge
Hedge.
before?
Hedge.
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 Okay. Over the
Look,
head.
TK, you don't have to correct him every time, because sometimes we mean over the hedge. We mean it, but sometimes we say it in a way that the H is silent. So it sounds like over the edge.
And I have to say, The Good Robot is a hell of a film.
Yeah. I mean, the robot in the movie was also actually a pretty actually interesting villain, I will admit. But I would have preferred if the villain was like the creator of all these machines. But okay. I've heard. I heard of the books. I never read them, so maybe there is like an overall villain. I don't know. But overall, I would say the weakest links for me, I would say, are definitely like over the hedge villains and the B movie. I mean, I agree with you, FRC. That movie should be studied. Absolutely.
I'm just shocked how I am, but I'm not, how it's much in like the cultural zeitgeist, especially with millennial and Gen Z meme culture.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying meme culture is just like they fixate on the weirdest things.
Like B movie, it's a movie that it's only perfect for creating memes.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It is weird that it did so badly, because one of the writers on it is like one of the best comedians ever. And it's weird that it's so bad.
I have here's a conspiracy theory. I think like he had a different idea for a B movie, and then basically other people got involved, and it became what it is now.
I think that, or the Seinfeld curse.
All that. Yeah. Okay. Good point. Yeah. But sadly, we'll never know.
I just feel like it's weird that DreamWorks is like, oh hey, you know who the biggest star that that kids would like flock to the theaters to see as a voice? Jerry Seinfeld. You like jazz?
Oh boy. Oh my god. Oh boy. I mean, like, we can always go on and on. I mean, like DreamWorks always had like, their low lows and their high highs, every single studio does have that when it comes to movies, not all of them can be successful, critic, like review wise and box office wise, and unfortunately, well, B movie is one of them who basically reached the judgment day like too soon. But anyway, yeah, I mean, like, even though I do agree, I just want to go back to what you just said, like about TROLLS. I mean, I will admit, they're not DreamWorks movies that will watch over and over, for sure. They're usually movies that I will watch either when I'm bored, I have nothing to do, or, well, if I'm either drunk or high, for sure.
I think it would be pretty fun if it intoxicated. By the way,
Yeah.
I'm not encouraging that or anything like that, but like if you had the opportunity.
That kid's paid is encouraging us to get high.
No. And school kids, don't do drugs.
Yes, drop out of school and do drugs.
Become a pop star and then give you them for free.
Yes.
Stay straight edge, kids. Stay straight edge.
Become a pop star. They give you them.
We have gone so off topic.
Okay.
Sorry. I just said when he mentioned like don't buy drugs and everything, like I just had to say it. I just had to say he was calling for it. Okay, he was calling for it.
Okay,
Oh, boy.
next topic or current topic. I don't know. Let's just change the subject.
Trust me, that's a normal Tuesday for me and TK when we do live streams.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
We go off the topic almost all the time.
What was the one with SpongeBob? Where was it the SpongeBob one where you talked about that, or where you talked about that honey that that was going to be like really spicy? You said if you're down on your luck and you're having a bad day, just take some of the honey. It'll get all your troubles because it's so spicy.
No, that was Winnie the Pooh.
No, that was what. Yes.
just take a sip, and all your troubles will be over. Trust me, if you're with us, Fulcrum, like way more, I know. I think you might get some S thoughts.
Yeah, we have problems.
No shit.
I've known you two for a very long time, so I can imagine.
Anyway, let's move on, shall we? Okay. So this next subject will be, and I know we're gonna go off the topic very soon, but still, this is gonna be a little bit easy. Overrated and underrated subject. Which villain for you is the overrated and underrated one?
You announced that like you were on The Price is Right.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. FRC.
Underrated would have to be Pitch Black, the Boogeyman from Rise of the Guardians. Overrated, the Chameleon for me from Kung Fu Panda 4.
You think the Chameleon is overrated?
Yeah.
I never thought of this villain to be overrated.
Yeah. Everyone goes on about it, and I'm just like, no, not for me.
Okay, fair enough. What about you guys?
Ooh, you got anything?
I'm going to agree with FRC on the Chameleon. I think way overrated. Underrated.
You agree or you're angry?
Rumpelstiltskin.
Did you say you agree or you're angry?
No, I agree.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I also, I think overrated. No, wait, what should I say first? I mixed myself up.
Like you can start which one, whatever it pleases you. Just say overrated or underrated. It's all the same.
FRC said that the Chameleon was overrated, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to agree with him on that. I'm going to go with that for my overrated. Underrated, I'm going to go with Rumpelstiltskin.
Okay. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, yeah, for me, I would say, like, of all the villains in Dreamworks, like from the beginning where we are now, I would say, like, the most overrated one. Ooh, I know that people would love to bust my ass when I said this, but my overrated villain, c'est la vie, Lord Farquaad. Is my overrated one.
I thought you loved
Sorry.
Lord Farquaad.
What?
I thought you loved Lord Farquaad.
No, Lord Farquaad, I like him. Was like one of the, like, you know. Oh, I wish I had a camera. Oh, well, you know, it's live, so it will be recorded.
I'm very confused. I'm very confused. Yeah, like I'm confused most of this stream, so.
No problem. Join the club. We got jackets. But
We don't have
anyway,
jackets.
Are they embroidered?
beg your pardon?
Are they embroidered?
We have all kinds.
Okay.
We
I'll take
don't
my
have
advice.
We don't have jackets. I've been waiting mine for ages.
FRC doesn't have jackets, but I do. Anyway, no. Okay,
I'm
so
gonna,
let me.
I'm gonna say I kind of agree with you on Lord Farquaad. I do.
Yeah, I mean, look, I never said I loved him as a villain. I always said I liked him as a villain. Like, he was okay as a villain.
He fancied him.
Like, I mean,
he fancied him.
that can go both ways, the way how you just asked it. But but no, you mean the way you think, no, not that way. But like, I mean, look, his voice I really liked. I mean, you can never go wrong. With the choice of voice acting. But as a villain overall, I don't know. Like, I never really like. I never found anything. I'm sorry to say this, but I never found anything special about him. Like something that will make me remember him. I mean, okay, sure, I know. I always found he's designed to be, funny with the strong face and the chin, the height jokes and everything. Like, I really like that part. But like overall as a villain, I don't know. He was like average to me every time, like all the time when I see the Shrek movies. I mean, if I have to pick, I would say Rumpelstiltskin, the fairy godmother, or the fairy mob boss are for me the most memorable of the Shrek movies. Then let's just say Prince Charming or Farquaad.
You know what I want to see now? A fairy godmother spin-off where it's like Goodfellas.
Oh, a Goodfellas / fantasy Shrek spin-off. I mean, like, that would be something very unique for sure. Absolutely. I mean, Shrek is notorious when it comes to like using pop culture references. So it wouldn't surprise me if they use a lot of Goodfellas references as well.
Yeah, as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a fairy godmother.
Oh,
it would be different. I think it would be very difficult to do that hair thing, but okay. Unless you have a wig.
He's got the glasses.
Yeah, okay, the glasses could do, but I don't know, like his hair is too short to make that haircut. Yeah, but but hey, today with but hey, today everything is possible. So who knows? Go for it. But anyway, so he is my overrated one. But for underrated, there's quite a few, and yeah, Pitch Black is one of them, definitely. But if I had to choose, like, out of all of them, like, who could be my underrated number one? Let's see. Oh, yes, I have one. That movie is strongly underrated on the same level, like criminally underrated, just like Rise of the Guardians. And she is very underrated because I really liked her as a villain. Eris from Sinbad.
Okay. Yeah, I like that choice.
She was like, yeah. I mean, you kind of think like, okay, her goal was basically to create chaos because she stole the Book of Peace and everything. Okay, easy peasy. But like every scene she was in, and Michelle Pfeiffer, I think, was the one who voiced her.
Yeah.
Right. So, and the Michelle Pfeiffer, the way how she gave her like voice performance for that character was like really effective. And every scene she was in, like, she was diabolical to intimidating, sometimes even scary, especially when she was trying to steal the book. She was a bit scary. But overall, I think Eris, out of all the DreamWorks villains, I think she's like she's like, for me, the most underrated one because, yeah, alongside the Sinbad movie in general. I mean,
I'm going to throw an underrated villain kind of character, Strickler.
Okay. Okay, from Troll Hunters. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'll give you that.
I don't consider him a villain though, because I kind of grew to like him.
I mean, he was a villain in like season one. Well, I mean, season one, part one, and part two of season one. Like he was a villain, and then later on, he became more like how more like a supporting anti-hero type of character, basically. But yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, yeah. Strickler, I will put him on that as well. Yeah. Mm,
Oh, I got an overrated. I actually didn't get a chance to do. I don't think I have an underrated, but I'll go with the overrated. Not so much this character is bad or anything, but considering how the journey of this character is, Megamind.
you mean Megamind, or you mean like Titan from Megamind?
No, Megamind. Because
Oh,
literally, like his character is just more of like he's really understood. He's kind of been neglected. He kind of, had to go through villainy in order to find himself, and then he went through the hero's journey essentially, and then Metro Man, is it?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
Metro Man. Yeah, he's
I
the.
haven't seen a lot of these movies in such a long time, so I apologize. That's why I keep messing up the names and everything like that. But
No problem.
definitely kind of a hero's journey per se. So yeah,
Okay. Fair enough.
very
enough.
similar to I don't know if anybody here other than TK knows about Phineas and Ferb, with specifically Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz. By the way, I know I wasn't in the Disney stream, but I would have put that such a well written character, but very very similar to, in a way, to Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Oh my god. Yeah. This basically like I said, some of the villains, not just in DreamWorks, but like almost in everywhere. Like there's all sorts of villains that I think they should be more on the spotlight, rather than like the ones that they became very iconic. Like in this case, Lord Farquaad for me personally. I think they should have put like villains like Ares, or even like Dekel Khan, or like the Pharaoh from Prince of Egypt. Like those kind of villains, they should have put him more on the spotlight rather than him. But still, like each and every like studio and franchise, they do have their own villains who we're overrated, underrated. Where basically you can make a debate on everything. Now this is basically where you're gonna have to expend on your answer, and that is what I like to call our connections with evil, which basically means which villain in the DreamWorks movies did you connected the most? Not just simply choosing the villain, but you have to explore your answer.
Sorry. Repeat that question. It cut out a bit there. What was that?
No problem. So basically, the question was, with which villain in the DreamWorks movies have you connected the most? Not just simply naming it, but also you have to explore your answer. Why? And that's the reason why I didn't give you any homework, because I wanted to surprise you to see what you're gonna say right on top of your head.
You might have about 5-10 minutes of silence now.
Don't worry, don't worry. I have my time. I mean, I know you guys are on the schedule, but we still have a bit of time.
Well, I don't know if I would say I would relate to this villain because I don't really relate to supervillains per se. Like I don't go around with like twirling a fake mustache in my free time, but I would say probably the arc that I connected to the most would be the Death or the Wolf from Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, just because I feel like the whole point of that movie is just kind of don't take time for granted. Try to live every single moment you can. And I think that is like probably the most just human lesson you can have, really, and something that I took to heart the most. That's why that character just kind of gave me chills, and just the whole arc with Puss in Boots and just him trying to come to realization to that. I think it was just really well put, really.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said. How about the other you two bad guys?
I don't quite know whether I can go on from that. Really lovely answer.
The reason the reason why I'm doing this. Oh,
you
go
know,
ahead.
you
Go
know
ahead.
what? In kind of the Doctor from Penguins of Madagascar.
You mean Dave?
That's it, Dave. Just because I think, there's always going to be people that are going to be kind of people are going to keep an eye on in a way, or other people will kind of take the spotlight, and you feel like you're forgotten. I felt like that in sporting examples. I play a lot of sport, and people that are better than me will take more of the limelight, and it's actually the people in the background that people don't often focus on. I wouldn't say I want to do what Dave did, but I think just that the motivation behind it's quite relatable in a lot of practical settings, with me playing my sport and stuff like that. So it's not as wonderful as Peyton's answer, but I'm going to go with that.
Okay. What about you, TK?
I'm gonna go with Prince Charming, only because I kind of understand where he was coming from a little bit, especially in the second movie. He was also kind of. I also kind of like. I connect better with villains who are funnier. And also too. I mean, come on, he was really good looking. I'm really good looking. So
you are.
Although
Yes, you are.
Yeah, but you're not wearing lipstick.
yeah.
Well, Peyton, tell us, is he wearing lipstick? You're in the room with him.
Nope.
Yes, you are. You are the Shadow Council's Prince Charming, TK.
He's not that charming. He really isn't.
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
I love you, TLB, but you're thorn in my side, and pretty much everybody's here. So
That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
God, I can be of assistance.
Guys, I think like you, us four. I mean, I think we could do like some bloody good sitcom based on our lives.
All right, we'll start a writer's room. The next episode will be our writer's room, writing our new sitcom, coming to CBS for their pilot season.
Right. But basically, with the testing title called "Shag My Life."
No, I'm out. Get me out.
Take my life.
I don't know if that would be accessible for U.S. audiences.
No, it wouldn't. Not even for BBC as well.
If we did that, we would just need to go and find the men in the white coats with the needles ourselves.
I mean, if we have the proper equipment, anything is possible.
No, I think ours should be called Our Villain Arcs, and it would be a series about how we're going to become villains.
Right. Basically, the Academy of Evil. How to become a villain in 10 steps
Number 1.
or less.
Number 2.
That'd be
Right.
fun. Just like seeing like lectures, like literally just like film university.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Having
I love my
games
life.
with Hero University and supporting character university.
Football, that's where they dribble the orange ball, right?
No, that's when they have the stick.
Oh, okay.
We're tiny, we're loony, we are very loony.
All right. What about you, Lord of Shadows? Which film do you connect to the most?
Lord Shen. Out of all of them, yes, because on the outside, you as a viewer, you might see him as a power-hungry conqueror, basically. That everything that he does, is basically, so he can be on top. So, as he will say, to rule China, or even like, take over the world, and where basically he will turn the basement into dungeon, as he put it. But that's on the outside. But on the inside, he is a very broken character. Like he has been through a lot. Like, like especially the way how the parents saw him, and like the overall feeling of like, being neglected, being banished, and also in the same time, like trying to prove himself, that he has that he does have a purpose, that there's a like a reason behind his plan, that there's a meaning, like basically in a way that his parents could see him, or like on a from they can see him from in a different perspective. Like it's basically if I have to quote Lord Shen, basically like when the soothsayer told him like it's time to stop this madness, and basically she said like so your parents can rest in peace, and basically he said my parents hated me, do you understand, they wronged me and I will make it right. In that simple quote, it tells you everything you need to know about the character and what he has been through, like basically and all the way through the end, when he basically let himself go, when the cannon squashed him, basically, like he knew in the end that he lost everything, that he has nothing to lose, that basically all this obsession, this conviction that he had brought him to his own downfall, like there's so many layers to Lord Shen that kind of like connected with him, but also at the same time I understood why he's doing what he's doing. Like basically I would put him as a more like a tragic villain, because like after you hear you understand his backstory, you understand his, let's just say, mentality. You can understand like you can in the end you kind of feel sorry for him, or at least you can feel pity for him. Like there are all sorts of layers that tells you that he became a villain out of his own creation, out of his own like how can I put this? Out of his own creation, if I have to put it that way. So I will go with Lord Shen.
I think I've spoken non-stop about how I think Lord Shen's a fantastic villain, and I think that opening scene of Kung Fu Panda 2, ironically, I watched that this morning. It was on the telly, so I just flicked on it. It was right at the beginning when they are showing that, and his kind of villain journey was kind of really began when he saw the Vision, it was going to be defeated by and that turn to kind of know that and make a link with pandas is and then when he's coming back when he's come back to the castle and he kind of says it to the goat lady, like says, "Oh, your prophecy wasn't right, was it?" And it was just that confidence and that ability to just come in and go, "Look, I'm here now with my super weapon. I'm going to take back Gongmen City." And she's like, my vision will come true. And obviously there the panda, Poe the panda comes and all the pandas, he hasn't killed all of them. He's not killed the most important one. So I think, but that beginning, when you see that happen and you see his logo, and he's a fantastic villain.
Yeah, I mean, his overall journey to villainy actually it didn't just begin with the prophecy. It became actually it began with when he discovered that through the fireworks he created gunpowder. That he the same powder can be used for weapons. And also in the same time you have another layer in which basically he's one of those villains. That is like out with the old, in with the new. Like for example, like in his perspective, like kung fu has no place in this modern world because of like all the weapons and everything that he created. Like just like when he talked with Master Rhino, like when Master Rhino say like you're like you're outmatched when it comes to kung fu, and he's like, you're right, but this is and basically shot him with a cannon. So there are all sorts of layers where you can go deeper into the character, but like, so I will add also that as well. Now, the main reason why I asked you this question, you three, is just to give you a little taste what the villains review is going to be all about. This is just a little taste because I wanted to see your overall ideas and thoughts and how would you explore your villains basically,
like in general, or with the Dreamworks specifically.
Not just simply Dreamworks, in general.
Okay.
Yeah. And so far,
in the words of John Kreese from the Karate Kid, you're a sneaky little fucker, ain't you? But I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I'm a pushy little bastard. Yes, I am. Yeah. I just love how you say it, but I like that. I like that.
That's how he's so good at. He's so good how he does it. You're a pushy little bastard, ain't you?
I agree.
But I like that. I like that. So good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, because so far the way how you answered, I mean, I was impressed. Like I was impressed. Like there is some criminology in your minds too.
Who feels like, by the way, not Lord of Shadows. Who feels like we've just been tested? I feel like I've just took an exam. What you passed?
I mean, knowing the Lord of Shadows, I can see that.
Yes.
Yeah. In the words of Karen, it is me. I'm the real evil genius. From Plankton, the movie.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
You should. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? I'm a puppet master, a criminal mastermind. What can I say? Oh man, oh my man, oh yeah. Anyway, I know that you three are like on the schedule, so I think we can bring this conversation into conclusion.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
discussion.
Go ahead.
That was a good discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you told me how long you can be and everything, so I think that's a fair amount. I mean, it's not the usual traditional way how me and TK are doing it, but for this time, I felt like it would be decent. It would be decent.
Okay.
Yeah. outside the whole wackiness that we talked about in the mid of this overall topic, but still, yeah. Also, yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, okay. I have one last question for you three. So basically, if DreamWorks gives you an opportunity to basically write and direct your own, anime movie for DreamWorks, my question to you is like, what kind of type of villains would you write? I know it usually depends on the story and the style, but my question is in general, what type of villains would you write?
Probably something to do with like martial arts. I know they do kung fu, but just type of like a bit of a broken type of character, broken villain who's like thirst for greed and stuff like that. So more like a warrior type of an ancient warrior type of thing. So combine kind of like Sinbad and Kung Fu Panda type of aspect, I would say.
That'd be pretty dope.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you two?
I would I don't know about the type of style, but I'd love to get like a Shakespearean or a very critically acclaimed actor like Sir Patrick Stewart or Sir Ian McKellen or something like that, just so they can just go out, be silly, maybe have some heart in there, and just have fun with it.
Okay. What about you, TK?
Well, first of all, if DreamWorks wanted me to write a villain, they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel with me. But if they contacted me and wanted me to write a villain and it wasn't a prank and I wasn't going to end up in my underwear in a schoolyard somewhere, then I'd do a flagpole. Then I would probably write somebody like I'd write a villain like a Thanos. Like one that you kind of like understand their motivations and understand where they're coming from and almost kind of like agree with them halfway through the film. I'd probably write one like that.
For me personally, again, it depends on the type of story I will write, but I think my type of villains would be like the usual, like the puppet masters, criminal masterminds that plot from the shadows. Villains that also, they're like very intelligent, that can always be like few steps ahead, of the heroes. Also at the same time, who sees themselves as the heroes of their own stories, as well. So I mean, like, it wouldn't be like, again, I wouldn't write like traditional type of villains. Mine also will be like a bit like, unique in a way, with like some like very traditional elements as well, but overall I think those would be my types of villains. Like, I mean, it could be anything, like, from a king to a mob boss to a mad scientist to a pirate to a conqueror to a warrior to a martial arts. It could be any types of any type of villain, but it would basically have those kind of elements, like, high level intellect, puppet masters, criminal masterminds, always trying to be a few steps ahead, thinking before they're blinking, kind of like, using brains and bronze at the same time, and also type of villains that they're not afraid to get their hands dirty, not just simply like, sending henchmen to do their bidding while they're sitting on a throne or something,
So high intellect, not afraid to, it sounds like you just described me.
No.
I'm not gonna answer that.
Ego.
Yeah, with the meaning of the word, not that you're a planet.
Though I love Kurt Russell.
True. Yeah, that's true. Well, with all being said and done, we have come to an end to another Shadow Council episode. After a very long time, we finally did it, and I do hope we're going to do them once more very, very soon. So with that all being said, Hope you guys have enjoyed that little crazy conversation about the DreamWorks villainy and with other bonus stuff that we mentioned as well. A little bit bizarre, sometimes groovy, mostly bizarre. But overall, you guys know the drill. Comment, like, subscribe. As always, if you want to see previous Shadow Council episodes, they're going to be in the video description down below. Also, please, for the love of everything, subscribe to TK, the Lucky Bastard. Also, in the same time, subscribe to the Great FRC channel as well. And with that being said, stay tuned for more. And as always, Lord of Shadows signing off.
TK the Lucky Bastard out. Vote on your favorite host.
Fulcrum signing off.
I like that.
And for the end, all I have to say is this. Later, fuckers.